Hi everyone, I hope you're well. This session is to give you some feedback on what came up in the March 2025 exam. I haven't shared any of this information up until now, just to respect the fact that some people were doing retakes post the exam, but they should all now have been done, so we can talk about what came up so that you can see what other people got and hopefully give you some confidence that you did well in the exam. So let's have a look. Before we do though, just remember that there isn't just one exam on the ACCA anymore. The exams with the ACCA are taken all over the world. They're taken at different times of the day so that there is no advantage of someone in Australia phoning someone up in London and telling them what came up in the exam, because it's probably a different exam. So I have students who are all over the world, in Canada, in Australia, in the UK, in Ireland, in India, in China, in Hong Kong, Malta, everywhere, and they have told me what came up in their exams so I can share it with you, and then we'll look at some lessons from study and what we did well. So what came up? Well, a question on board diversity came up, asking you why it was important. A question on the ethicality of some behaviours that were going on, quite specific to the case. I think there was some leaking of minutes of meetings. Is that ethical? The benefits of a risk manager and the benefits of internal audit. How to change the behaviour and attitude of volunteers. So kind of a change management question. The benefits and drawbacks of a proposal to have extra shops outside of the historic property sites. Matching the salaries of the charity board members with commercial managers' salaries and maybe giving them bonuses. So asking you to debate that. What else? Leadership qualities needed to implement change. And then you were given some information about a shop at a site with poor operating controls, and you had to identify the risks and recommend how to mitigate those risks. Question on e-commerce and a question on e-marketing in the context of HP. Question on data storage issues and contextual features to consider before making changes. So that's what came up. We did a number of mocks before the actual real exam. The final mock we did was linked to the HP Pre-C material. So we just remind ourselves what we did in our final mock. In our first question, we talked about the difference between a profit-making business and a charity. We talked about a two-tier and a unitary board. And we talked about the benefits and challenges of two-tier boards. So that was really inspired by what came in the Pre-C material. It was, well, I just needed to make sure that you were fully conversant with those issues. So we didn't get a question on that in the exam. In terms of preparing a report of the benefits they'd enjoy from the creation of a risk committee, yep, we talked about that, and the exam talked about it. Provide a table how risks could be mitigated. Yep, we were well prepared for that. And why should you have a mix of skills and diversity? Yep, I just mentioned it. And then the final question in our mock, we talked about briefing notes for board members for the benefits of e-marketing. And yep, we just mentioned that as a real exam question. Also talking about risks. So that came up. And then the final thing we did on our mock were 2 slides about the EMAS and environmental stuff. So if we're looking at what came up, the first thing on board diversity and why it's important, we definitely did do a question in our final mock on that. So you were pretty well prepared, and hopefully you took on board the feedback we gave in that mock to help construct an answer. In terms of ethicality, well, we didn't talk about that, but in our mock, but it was, we were prepared for it. It was representative of one of those SBL questions, which says to you, what do you think? What do you think? Is it ethical to leak board meeting minutes? In terms of a risk manager and internal audit, well, definitely we talked about risk managers, so we should have been well prepared for that. We have talked about internal audit in notes, so you should have been good with that. How to change the behaviour and attitude of volunteers. Well, we didn't talk about that in our final mock, but I'm going to give it a tick because you would have done our second to last mock, and we did talk about changing behaviour there. We could have applied those techniques we discussed to that question if it came up for you. In terms of having a proposal to have shops outside of their sites, well, no, we didn't talk about that. But in our first mock we did evaluate a proposal where there was a few tiny calculations. It was all about the suitability, feasibility, acceptability framework. Well, you didn't have to use that, but when we did that in the mock, it really opened up ideas. And then in terms of matching HP's salaries with those of the commercial sector, again, something for you to think about and debate. So if we look at leadership and the need to implement change, well, definitely in Mock 2, we talked about change, and the stuff we talked about should have helped you there. In terms about a shop with poor operating controls, risks, we definitely got you exposed to risks. So some of that information would have been very useful if that question came up. And again, it's a big if. There was a very direct question in the mock about e-marketing. We talked about the 6 I's. We talked about that, so you should have been well prepared for that. We didn't talk about data storage. We had talked about it on the course, and in the same way, contextual features of change we had highlighted in a number of slides on the course, but not in a question. So I hope you were happy with the exam and were happy with how well prepared you were for the exam. What then are you going to do next? Well, the first thing I would say, if you still have exams to do, please don't break the study habit. Yeah, it takes a while to develop a habit. It takes a while to lose it as well. But the longer you go without studying, if you still have exams to take, the higher likelihood of you losing that study habit. And I would say don't wait until the results come out. That's about 5.5 weeks after the exams were taken, because your study habit will definitely mostly be lost. Any decent course will allow you to, certainly, on my courses, if you want to join and you're still waiting results, you can join it. If the results don't go your way from a previous exam, no problem. You don't have to pay anything. We can just freeze your course and we can open it again when you're ready to take the exam. So I'm always of the view that you want to pass this exam as quickly as possible. And to do that, you want to try to give yourself as much preparation time as possible. So yep, if you've still got exams, please don't wait till the results. Don't lose the study habit. So what lessons have you learned that you can maybe take on to another paper if you still have more exams to do? Well, the first thing would be not to question spot. You have all these people who have no credibility on Facebook, and they don't have any credibility because you won't find their name anywhere on the ACCA sites, YouTube, Student Accountant. You won't find them anywhere, and they all tell you what's going to come on the exam. Well, even if they knew, I've just shown you how it depends which exam you get. So don't question spot. Have a good top level understanding of the whole course as I give you on my course. And, make sure you understand everything really at a top level, not at the minute detail, but at a top level, so you're able to comment on things. Do a course which gives you homework, which gives you mocks, which are done on the CBE platform. Get those homeworks then marked. Really important to get them marked. I get real SBL markers to mark my course for you because that gives you the best feedback. And then it's not just like a few ticks, comprehensive comments. You need to act on those comments and make sure that when you do the homework, the next homework or the next mock, the mistakes you make, you don't make again. Yeah, that's really important. It's, as I always say, it's a little bit like learning to drive. And every time we make a mistake, we reflect and we do better next time. So that's a lesson learned there. And if you have any issues like you did, WhatsApp me, speak to me, and I will sort them out very, very quickly so you don't have to sweat on them too long. So they are the key lessons I would say you have learned. So I hope you are very successful when the results come out. Please let me know. I'm sure you're going to be. Please let me know if you need any advice on anything with regards to what to do next. And I'll be more than happy to help. Just WhatsApp me. Okay, thank you for listening and I wish you all the very best.